Hey guys, this is Balance from WCRreplays.com, bringing you another commentary for the site. It's copyrighted, don't steal it. So, I know you just had another commentary from me not too long ago, but I figured I would bring some more content your way since I was gone for so long. And I'll be continuing with my theme from last replay today, which is going to be playing Night Elf against a human expansion. Today we're going to do it without a Dark Ranger or a Panda or any Tavern Heroes at all. We're going to be looking at a game on Lost Temple. And it is a very, very awesome game, in my opinion. It's going to be a really exciting game to commentate. I'm going to have to see how I can cover everything I want to cover with this replay without talking so blazingly fast that nobody can understand me. It'll be a challenge. It should be interesting. But anyways, it's like I said, it's a great game between two lesser-known players, actually, two American players. On the human side, we have Holy Human, who's playing under the AKA Scud Lunar. Don't know what that's about, but it is indeed Holy Human, and he's playing against my good friend Chipotle. He's not really my good friend, but he is a cool guy. And Chipotle, for one, well, I guess I'll talk a little bit about these players' credentials in case you don't know who they are. Holy Human is a rising star on the American scene. He's probably the big up-and-coming human in America who plays for TOT. Chipotle also plays for TOT. These guys are teammates. And Chipotle, in my humble opinion, is one of the most underrated Night Elves in America. He's a fantastic player. If you don't believe me, you can check out his Kalimdor account. On Season 4, I believe he was up to rank 7 or something like that, on just the regular Kalimdor ladder with a pretty good record. And I've seen him beat all the pros over there. He's got skills. Very, very talented elf player, and this is going to be an epic game between the two of them on Lost Temple. So go ahead and get this queued up. As usual, we will be enjoying this replay starting from the 15-second mark. 1 speed, the Night Elf player's perspective in this case. That would be Chipotle. So go ahead and get that synced up. Fog of War off. There's going to be a lot to look at with this game. Alright, so I'll assume you guys are with me. Unpausing in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so here we go. You can see right away that this is not only a Lost Temple match, this is a cross-map Lost Temple match. So the option of some quick harassment on the human expansion isn't even really available. If you try to go for that human expansion cross map like this, by the time you get there, they're probably already done, and you might find yourself into an ugly situation with them chasing your demon hunter around with level 2 when you're only level 1 and you're not doing any good. Their expansion's going up and you're already in a whole lot of trouble. So this is going to be educational to see how Chipotle plays this. Of course I know, but you guys don't yet. I'll also say, before we go ahead and get started here, as these heroes are just constructing, that I think I think Lost Temple in general is not a map that Night Elf should fear. I know everybody has the option of vetoing things now in most of the popular leagues, but I feel like Lost Temple is a very, very viable elf map, and I feel like we sort of owe it to ourselves as elf players to beat people on Lost Temple. I mean, elf gets so much hate about Tavern Heroes and abusing this and abusing that it's nice to get a good clean win with just your racial heroes on Temple when other races have a whole lot of advantages on this map. So I feel like playing a good elf game on Temple is a good thing to be able to do. So hopefully you guys will find this replay helpful to that end. So you can see on Chipotle's side that he's sending out a bunch of wisps to scout right away, which is a good idea. You want to get a very quick idea of where your opponent is. In addition, it's helpful to have wisps all around the map in this game, because if it goes long, well, you're just going to want those wisps out there. And his base, he starts off with a 1 Ancient of War Huntress build. 2 Ancient of War Huntress was popular for a brief time against human players. People would just, mass Huntresses and try to tower the expansion or whatever. That didn't last so long. People don't do that so much anymore, and the reason for that is that it's do or die, and often not so much in your favor. The way that can sometimes go is that they'll fight you off at your expansion for long enough, and they'll get up enough towers, they'll get out enough riflemen, that they will stop your push and prevent you from expanding and then push you and win. Human players have had a lot of practice against that sort of thing, so it's often better to just do a little bit of harassment and expand yourself, which is similar to the concept that we talked about in the last replay for those of you or commentary for those of you who watched it. But anyways, back to our action. We can see, of course, Holy Human has done his creeping and is now about to set up his expansion. And meanwhile, Chipote, being cross-map as he is, has decided to use his time with his Demon Hunter to go ahead and creep the troll corner in the middle of the map, which you can do with Immolation, losing only about half your mana and a little under half your life. Pretty good way to spend your time when you think about it, considering that you're not really going to be able to harass him effectively, and you don't have any other units out to help you creep anything harder than that. So it's not a bad way to spend your time if you're cross-map. And Immolation is helpful for peasant killing, so there's no reason, or rather, there's not really a loss in going that first. So you can see what Chipote does here. He has his wisps carefully placed around the map at strategic locations, and what he's going to do is he's going to go to the shop right here and sell both of his items. The reason he sells his there he goes. He sells his, or he doesn't sell his ring, sorry, but he does sell his TP scroll. And the reason that he does that, he doesn't really need a TP scroll at this point in the game. He'll be able to get his huntresses out of trouble, and the staff teleportation is all he needs, and the staff teleportation is an enormously useful item defensively as well as offensively, as you saw right there. He picked up the staff and he teleported straight to his wisp place at Holy Human's expansion, and what this did was that it circumvented Holy Human's army. He didn't have to deal with trying to run through the Archmage, and the Archmage wasn't expecting him, and as a result he was able to kill a bunch of peasants before Holy Human even got there, and every little thing like this helps so much. You think about killing peasants on a constructing human expansion. If you kill all of the peasants at that expansion will not go up until the human player gets a whole nother group of them over there, and that can take a while, usually at least the amount of time it takes for militia to expire, and that is a whole lot of time that you can be using yourself to tech and to get an expansion up of your own. If you look back at Chipote's base, you can see that he is doing both of those things. He's placing a tree on the ramp, which he will creep in short order, and he's teching. And meanwhile, of course, if you look at Holy Human's base, Chipote is using his huntresses to great effect. You want to make sure that you are using your huntresses as soon as they come out. Chipote has one huntress at Holy Human's base. Before the human player gets a tower up, this is a very useful thing to do. You send the huntress in there, you just force them to call some militia, potentially kill some peasants if you can get some other units up there. And if you split their army, you can divide their attention, and it's pretty easy for you to keep your units alive. In addition, if you have staff TP, you can do something like what Chipote did right there. He sends his huntresses over to the expansion. A lot of times the human players will have footmen waiting for you, and if you use that clever staff TP like Chipote just did, you can punish those footmen by having your Demon Hunter just pop right in. And all the while, it's a good idea to split your attention. Like I said, it's easy to save the huntresses if you're careful at all. And meanwhile, you can hopefully get some peasant kills out of it. And the more peasant kills, the more you have done towards making up the resource advantage that the human player has over you by getting up that quick expansion. The best case scenario is you even out the resource playing field entirely, and you are then way ahead of the game because you have a much faster tech than they do, and the same resources. That's always the goal with this kind of a scenario when you're expanding to counter an expansion. You'll notice also right there in the middle, Chipote punished Holy Human for having trying to send a footman there. This is always something that Night Elf players should bear in mind on Lost Temple. Huntresses are enormously useful, and archers too for that effect. But any of your tier 1 units can sit at that center fountain of health, and as long as they don't have dust or any kind of disabling spell, you control that fountain. They will never ever get to heal. All you need to do is wake up the creeps and hide again, and that you should always be using that to your advantage. So you'll notice that at this point, Holy Human has towers at both of his bases. It's not particularly useful for Chipote to continue to try to hit, as Holy Human can just camp behind his towers, and Chipote only has a small number of huntresses. So as such, he will use this time to creep an expansion, which is nicely coordinated with the time of his expansion coming up and being ready to creep. It's just a bit of good timing on his part, and you'll notice he gets that expansion down, and then he'll immediately start using that staff of TP again. He TPs over to his Wisp. Now he has a Demon Hunter on the other side of the map where he can check out the action and see what's going on. And meanwhile, he's going to send his Huntresses to